Chasin the Racin, powered by Colchester Kawasaki. Part of the Global Moto Group, we supply new Aprilia, Moto Guzzi, Vespa, Royal Enfield, Kawasaki, Sim, Mutt and Benelli motorcycles.
3, 2, 1, and welcome back to Chasin the Racin, episode 170. And over to the Grandstand, we've got Chris Kinley.
170, how did that happen?
I know, and for anyone watching on YouTube, we're
really over the moon with that joke, aren't you?
We're not in our usual setting. We're actually right at the top of the Grandstand at the Alaman TT. We've just been right on the roof. A fantastic view right across the Douglas front, and you can see for miles here.
This is testing your course knowledge, isn't it?
Douglas.
This is Douglas. Something over there.
The mountain.
Well done, well played. There we go. But I'll tell you what, it's intimidating, this, Chrissy. This is the OG of the microphone. This is
the voice of TT.
Yeah, okay. No, this is a great view up there, boys. I mean, it is a privilege to see. But I've been doing a better thing than that today. I've been to watch the last ever performance by the Purple Helmets. It was absolutely, I can't say what they normally say, it was absolutely rubbish. In Laxey, in the Gardens. They're not going to perform again. That's it, they're finished.
What? Hold on. What? Come on then, why?
Well, because they're all not young men anymore. And basically falling off even at those really ridiculously low speeds that they do, they still hurt themselves. And they've just decided enough is enough. So the last show was today. I know it's time stamped on it. Sorry about that. But it's in Laxey in the Gardens there, where a place called Ham and Egg Terrace, which is opposite the Laxey Wheel in the little gardens there. They were just knocking the living daylights out of each other in there for a few hours. Did 2 shows today. John McGuinness was there. James Hillier was there. James Hillier got involved as well. And it was a good crack. It was good.
Oh, that's a damn shame. What a great way to start the show. A bit of
the highlight of it was the Great Laxey Duck Race, which involves basically you buying a duck, you're writing your name on it, they put it in the thing and they chuck it in the water, the first duck down the bottom wins.
We're talking the toy ducks here.
Yeah.
Things are a little bit different on the Isle of Man, because tattooing livestock.
There's no pancakes or plum sauce or cucumber with it. There's none of that. It's just yellow ducks, yeah.
Oh, I'm loving this. I'm loving it. Here's my first question. When was the last time you were interviewed? Because this is totally on the other side of the fence for you.
Northwest 200 this year did a podcast with Steve Parrish and Keith Ewan after the race, and where obviously it was a fantastic day, great event, absolutely brilliant. I did one of them. I don't normally do them, to be fair, but you cannot not come on Chasin the Racin. You can't not.
You smooth son of a bitch.
So are you born and bred over here?
Yeah. If you look, we looked up on the roof there before and you pointed out various parts of the course. As you look from the Grandstand, just picture it in your mind's eye. If you look over to the left-hand side, you're heading towards Glenvine. Go left a little bit more, you're heading south towards Castletown. Basically, Dominic was racing at the Sun, he didn't race at the Sun 100, but when you normally race, I just thought I'd say that. When you normally race at the Sun 100, as you come out the final corner, that little estate there, that's where I grew up, right there.
Right.
So when we were 6, 7, 8 years old, they had early morning practices in 5 o'clock in the morning. We got up and we went and helped. We went and helped the club set the Sun 100 circuit up, put the bales out, put the ropes out, put everything out, just help the club set up.
Were you from a racing family?
No, none, not at all.
So,
not an interest at all.
How did you initially get that interest?
Because you live on the Isle of Man.
Right.
If you ask the same question to Milky, he'll say exactly the same to you. Now, his dad was really into bikes. God love him, Dennis. Really into his bikes, and that's how Milky got involved. But it's into you. You either like it or you hate it. There's a lot of people in our man who don't like it, but the majority do.
I was about to say, let's talk a little bit about the policy. I'm very, very rusty on it. I kind of get the bullet points element of it, but it is kind of like down the middle. Am I correct in saying that half the residents are not a big fan of the TD, and then the other half are like TT mad? Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, probably a bit more than half and half. There's more like it than don't. I mean, there's a lot of people now have realised how big the TT has got, as we've seen this year. It was absolutely massive. That what a lot of people do is they don't like it. What they do is they rent the house out for a week. They go to Spain, and then they've got some benefit from the TT there because they brought something in called homestay, where if you want to come over and stay for the TT at a house down on Bray Hill, the people say, I'm not interested in the TT, I'll go for a week. Then you have to apply to the government. They come and check your house, make sure it's all okay, and then people stay in your house for a week. They leave it the way they found it, and you come back and you've got your house and you've made a few quid. So that's what happens. So the people who don't like it, they just get on with it. People who do like it, guys, from being around the paddock, they love it. Absolutely love it.
What's the population of the Isle of Man?
Official,
when he got here, doubled.
Yeah, doubled. 80-odd thousand now. It was probably about 83, 84,000, I think, roughly. They had a census a while ago, and I can't remember the figures, but it's over 80,000 now.
Right. So in terms of, if you think of like a city in the UK, it's tiny.
It is tiny, but then kind of what you go where Dominic lives, the different accent variations in the various parts of the northeast. It's the same here. If you go to Castletown, the accent's different. You go to Peel, the accent's different. You go up Ramsey, it's different. You come to Douglas now. A lot of people call people in Douglas, and I'm going to get shot for this probably. They call them plastic scousers because they all talk like that. They do, like right. They've never been on the boat to Liverpool, but they do talk that. I don't know why, but they're always called plastic scousers. So apologies to anybody. Well, my family's from Douglas anyway originally, but that's what it is. There is accent variation.
Do you have any? Like say in Newcastle, we've got words that like Geordie words, if you like, that aren't used in other dialects. Is the words over here that are like what?
So if a group of people were stood together, what would you call them in Geordie land? A group of people, I give you 10 or 15 people stood in it.
Like a gathering.
Dole wallers.
No, we'd call dole gatherers. We'd call it a scutch. A scutch of people.
Right.
So there you go. So scutch is a lot of people together. Lars, how's it going, yes sir? And what does that mean? Yes is just a Manx. How's it going, fella? That's another Manx word. You can be anywhere in the world, and I've been to Macau and places like that, and you just all of a sudden from across the bar, hey boy, that's another Manx thing. It's a big thing is hey boy. That's a big shout. If you can't remember anybody's name, just shout hey boy, and that's it. It's a get out.
One thing that I picked up when I was over here for the TT for 2 weeks, and I sort of picked this up off a couple of Manx lads, and I've ended up using it myself. But do you know when you're describing somebody and you'd say, your man with the Yamaha, or your man with the so-and-so.
Your man, that fella over there, yeah. There's different. It depends where you come from the UK, isn't it? There's different words for different things that mean different things.
I'm still stuck on plastic scouts.
I completely not.
I was just going to walk into the courthouse nightclub on the last night and just go, how many plastic scouts? It doesn't watch me get Brit. I am 100%. I'm adrenaline seeker.
The Isle of Man accent is obviously geographically it's in between Liverpool and Ireland, and the accent is a sort of a bit of a mixture of sort of Scouse and Irish.
A week and a half ago, I was in Mallorca for a week on a holiday. I went to a place called Soler, and the Port de Soler, which is on the east coast. And I went down there, and there was a family walking past, and the family had young Bens. See the way I did that?
Geordie, Mike.
Young kids, and he dropped a teddy bear. So I went, hey mate, you've dropped that. He went, oh thanks, you're a Scouse. I went, no, I'm not. I says, I'm from the Isle of Man. He went,
that's the same thing.
But he was a shandy drinking southerner, wasn't he? So what do you expect? He didn't know where the Isle of Man was.
Do you use Bens, or did you do that as a joke?
I just did that as a joke.
Spend too many times in Northumberland.
Yeah, exactly. That's lovely. I love Bamburgh. Bamburgh's lovely.
Do you know where Bens comes from?
No.
It's originally from Norwegian. Mm-hmm. So Ben is Norwegian, and same as so like we would say I'm going hjem. And hjem is home.
You're going
in
home,
Norwegian, yeah. We get quite a lot. We used to get a hell of a lot of Norwegians over to Newcastle because they used to
be called Vikings. long time ago,
back in the day. Yeah. No, but even not that long ago, we used to get loads of Norwegians over because it's so expensive in Norway, and you used to be able to get the boat from St. Christiansen straight into South Shields.
Oh, right.
So they used to come over to the Metro Centre to do the shopping. It basically, imagine if you could get the boat over to somewhere, do all of your shopping for like half price or a third of the price.
That's what people do here. They go from here to Liverpool, go to Primark and come back. That's what they do, yeah.
Mind you, it's funny how we've adopted an accent considering the Metro Centre was built in the 80s. That's how, you know what I mean? We've totally, our dialect's gone out the window since 1982. Outstanding crack. Love it. Absolutely love it. Anyway, back to Chris Kinley.
So going back to your sort of journey as a commentator through the years, did you go straight into the what sort of roles did you do before getting the microphone?
When I was about 14, black and white days, long time ago when I had hair, there was a lad who used to do discos around the town. He said, listen, if your fans come and help me, he's a bit of a roadie that set up. I mean, it was the day when you had turntables and records, no CD players. We had a tape player. We used to play cassettes. You can imagine trying to queue up a cassette. You know, the cassettes had one track, then a gap, then a track two. Not like... Shall I explain what cassettes are, Dominic, to you? You're all right?
Oh, please do. No, carry on.
Okay. So you had to basically forward to track 3 on a cassette. So you had to do that while you were doing the song. So I used to help him settle up. He said, do you fancy having a go at it one day? I'm stuck. So I was 15 or something. Yeah, okay, I'll have a go at it. So I set it up, and it was at the football club at Castletown, the Stadium Bend at Castletown in there, and I did that, and it was great because that was my football club, so I did that. And then I started to buy my own gear, and then had my own gear, and a couple of mates of mine, we used to go around the island doing it bloody everywhere. We were north, south, west, everywhere doing the whole thing. And then I got asked in 1999, would you like to come up to the radio to do a bit? Because I knew the guy who was the program controller at the time. And I said, I'll come up and have a go. Basically, I had to go there every night. Well, not every night, every other night. And just basically phantom do a show. So do a show, but not do a show. You were doing it, but what we were doing, we were recording it onto mini disc. I'll explain what a mini disc is later as well. And it wasn't reel-to-reel tape or like, those sort of things. And we used to record them, and I used to give it to him. So that was it. And he said, I quite like it. He said, do you fancy having a go one time? I said, yeah, blimey, right, yeah, because at that time, there's 3 radio stations in Alaman now. There's only one then, which is Manx Radio. There's 3, there's Energy, and there's 3FM. Energy caters for the kids. 3FM's kind of caters for the kids, and then a little bit older, kind of your sort of age, Tom. And stop it. And he said, do you want to come and do it? So I said, no problem at all. So nothing happened 6 months. I thought, no matter about it. So I was at work one day, and at that time, an engineer. So I was working, used to make ejector seats at Martin Baker's Rollins Aircraft Company opposite the airport. So we were doing that, and I got a phone call 4:00. And bear in mind, this is before mobile phone. I didn't have a mobile phone in 1999. It's the office phone. Hello, yeah, Ed, Stu, yeah. What are you doing tonight? I says, I'm finishing work at 5. I'm going, oh, why? You're on air at 6. So I was like, what? He said, yeah, we're stuck. The guy who's doing it has let us down. Can you come and do it? And I'm like, blimmin' heck. So grabbed the bull with both horns, and off I went. I have a tape of it somewhere, and I need to dig it out. Bloody awful.
Was that like playing tunes?
It's playing tunes and just saying, hi, this is me, that is that bit, and reading crap from the paper stuff. No internet in the studio then, nothing like that. And we only just got a text system and an email system in.
Oh. And this is like prime time. This is like the prime time element. Everyone's going home, and like the pressure is on. Like
completely other. It was a 4-hour show.
So did that not sicken you, or was it kind of adrenaline drop?
No. What you want to do it? You got to. If you don't take the chance, you'll never get it again.
Yeah.
So just grabbed it by the horns, and then I did that show, and then I ended up doing 5 nights a week because the guy who was doing it ironically left to set up the other radio station, Energy FM. So I got the 5 nights a week job, and it was great. Then I got asked because they knew I was into sport. I was playing football and stuff. Do you want to do the sport program? So for 15 years, I did the sport program on a Saturday afternoon. That's where it led into TT.
Yeah, you must have so much knowledge and from sport with you, because with it being such a small place, you must know like everyone.
You think about the Isle of Man, you think about the world champions who've got David Knight, Mark Cavendish. It's for such a small island, we create so many world champions and elite champions, Commonwealth Games. All these young lads with the cycling. It's just incredible. And then in 2003. I got called into the office one day. They're kind of like, can you come into the office at 5? I'm like, oh, what have I done? So, and the guy who's in charge of it then was a guy called George Ferguson. He said, look, would you fancy doing TT? And I went, well, doing what for TT? Doing the sport, doing the reports? And he went, no. Would you fancy doing pit lane? I'm like, why? What's wrong with the guy who was doing it? He said, we just want to do something different. Would you fancy having a go at it? Again, got to take the chance. And
what year is that?
2003.
Is that it?
Yeah.
You'd like that's actually a shock to me, because you just seem so part of the infrastructure that seems so like. The only thing like that is terrifying. That
isn't it? It's a long time. It's ridiculous.
At that point, like you've gone from setting up at stadium, and setting up at the 700 and getting involved. Like, how closely were you following riders? At that point?
Absolutely. Oh, you did. But then we didn't really use the internet much. Like you did it by going around and speaking to people, and going to the events up at Derby. Going to the TT. Looking eventually online or reading papers for the road racing results around the Scarboroughs, and and all that. It's what you did for your research, but now you just go tap, 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 bang, and it's there for you.
Because that's something on a personal note, I feel like separates you from, like, not just you, like the Manx Radio team, like you are so involved in the paddock, and that stands out, because when you go to the grid, everyone's going, oh, there's Chris, and it instantly drops everyone's guard. But sometimes, like when you jump in having a conversation, it's almost so out of body, like so personal, like you think, how are people going to get this kind of thing? But it seems to flow, and that is a massive standout point for you.
I like to think that I know. For example,
I don't like you. That's just a big compliment.
Fine,
you know what I mean?
That's fine for me. Take those bloody glasses off. I'll sort you out.
You first.
It's kind of like last year. A rider came and he said, "Look, Kinley's, I'm gonna do this next year." And I'm like, "All right." And the lad that was with him said, "What have you told him that for?" And he said, "Because I know we won't say anything. And I know that if you said something to me, I would never go any further than if you wanted me to say something about it, I would. But if not, it's between you and me. That's the end of it. You've got to give trust with the guys."
Mm. So that first year when you were working for the TT, was that on the grid going to speak, or was it up here in the studio?
No, that was in the Park Fermi with Charlie Williams. I mean, Charlie Williams, there's a man to get in your podcast. Charlie Williams, 9-time TT winner, absolute legend. Charlie is. Get him TT next year. Honest to goodness me, the stories he could come out with. We used to, because Charlie used to do chat shows in the morning, which was 8 o'clock in the morning till 10 or 7 till 9 or whatever it was. And then me and him, because it's morning practice then, we had morning practices in 2003. So my first jump in was, I turned up, got my gear, put all my gear on, went out there and went on air. It just happened. And that was, 5 o'clock in the morning. We went on air. Radio TT started, or whatever it was called then, whatever. We started at 5 o'clock. And we carried it through. We had a bit of a break for music. Then we came back, spoke to riders, bit of a break for music, came back, and that's how it worked. We do it differently now, obviously, but that was it. You just thrown in at the deep end, you know, and you just got to learn by the seat of your pants. And to me, I think that's the best way of doing it. You can sit there with all your books and all your stats and all the world, but if you can't keep stuff in your head, you know, you'll be able to grab stuff out. All of a sudden, you go, oh, where did that come from? You know.
So even now, do you work at the TT, and for the rest of the year are you on normal radio doing
do normal radio, do a nighttime show. Thanks for listening. 6:30 till 9. It's great. It's popular show, very popular show, very busy to be fair, and it's just having a bit of crack, a bit of banter, and playing like for everything from ABBA to bloody not Celine Dion, ABBA to ZZ Top, you know, everything. We play everything across the board, even the modern stuff, you know, one of Charlie XX.
So are you like a massive music fan?
Yeah,
as well
I love all sorts of music, even classical.
Yeah.
If you had to pick one or two jobs, which job would you go for?
The job I'm about to do at the Manx Grand Prix in here, if you're a commentator, TT, Steve Day, who you guys know from the BSB, I mean, that is just an absolute dream job for him, because, you know, he's never been to the TT as such in this way, but I think he did a cracking job, absolutely cracking job. He was a very affable lad, very good, you know, and he understands how this job works, that you've got to give people time to talk. There's nothing worse than when you do an interview, Dominic, when people keep talking over the top of you, Dominic, you know, just putting it in there.
So you want me to talk you see the delay there? That was beautifully timed. There you go.
But yeah, to do this job, you know, it's an absolute honour to do it, and to be asked to do that in 2003. And the first time, it was Jeff Cannell who was in the tower that year. Jeff, God love him, great, absolute TT legend voice. You know, just kind of like your Peter Alice with the golf. You know, who else can we think about? Big George over in the Irish races. God love him. We lost him last year. You know, voices like that. And Jeff and Peter Neal before him had those sorts of voices, you know, and it was the Formula 1 pit stop, and it was the F1 race then on the Saturday, and it was the first pit stop, and those are the days down in just below us now in pit lane where you could get really close, and I mean really close with them changing the wheels, and I mean I'm stood right next to them while they're doing stuff. You obviously got to learn to stay out of the way, and I just say to them, look, what are you changing this time? Doing the tyre? Yeah, okay, stay out of the way at the back. Are you doing stuff at the front? No, just at the back. So I'll go to the front, I'll go to the back. You know, and just all of a sudden that adrenaline hit when I heard through the commentary, because these before the days when I had a laptop so I could check the time, so I knew what the splits was at Cronknamona, but now I've got it there in my hand and I can go, split at Cronknamona is this, split at Bungalow's this. So I had to rely on what Jeff was saying. So while he's saying John McGuinness leads by 2.4 seconds at Cronknamona from Dominic Herbertson, yeah, right. And then 4.6 back is Chrissy Rouse, you know, I'm memorising that in my head. So I've got that in my head. And then when the klaxon goes, because at the pit stop then, there was a stop box. So the riders came in, they had to stop, physically stop, put a foot down, and then they had to go to the pits. But now it's, 60 kilometres an hour? 60 kilometres an hour, isn't it? And that's quick.
Was that a safety thing to
That
stop?
was a safety thing. That was a safety thing. And the first time that klaxon went, when you come in for your pit stop, that noise that it makes, it was like, holy hell. And the way I figure it out is, the way I always have it in my head is I've got tens of thousands of people stood there over my shoulder watching what I'm doing. So basically I'm painting that picture for them. Sat in the hedge, sat in bloody Outer Mongolia, sat in the International Space Station. International Space Station listen to the TT as well. Really? Every year we get a message from them. Hi guys, International Space Station, hope you're all okay. Listen to the TT. Don't know what the delay is like up there, but it's about 4 days behind. But they always send us an email, and that is something I'm always very, very conscious of. That I put myself in those guys sat around the hedges, radios.
Do you know, in like say senior TT, I presume that'll be the most listened to. Do you know how many people tune in to Manx Radio?
Honestly, you couldn't quantify it because a lot of people listen via the radio. A lot of people now listen via streaming, and because you couldn't really do it. I mean, I would love to find the figures, but you got to think about it. You've got how many people here for TT? 30,000, 40,000 people, something like that. Whatever it is, and they're all listening to it. They might not all have a radio each, but they're all listening to it via some way.
Mm-hmm. Oh, fantastic.
If you had to put a number on it, though, a total guess for the sake of pub crack. That must be.
It is big.
It must be.
It is big, and then there goes podcasts as well. So again, how many from the podcast? I don't know. I wouldn't want to know.
I think the all of the steps forward this year, obviously all the live stuff and all the extra work that's been going on, it's got to be a good thing for, especially for lots of fans like in America and Australia who are really interested in the TT. They think the spectacle's brilliant, but they can't physically get here. But it's bringing so many new fans into it, and like even just silly little things like I was over here doing and. Every night of practice, wherever I was, I'd get my phone out and just do a few quick videos, and the videos were getting millions and millions of views. I did one on Colchester Kawasaki that's on like over 3 million views. The Chasin the Racin ones, the ones of you, and that's just off like just one phone doing a few like basic videos, nothing flash, and it's like millions of people are getting to see it. It's such a fascinating spectacle, and it's. You know, it doesn't matter where you are in the world. If you see, there was a video of Hickman going through Ballagary, and like it, even if you weren't remotely into bikes, but you're seeing that, you can't help but be impressed.
2-wheel drift,
and think like, wow, like and bring it. Hopefully, that'll bring more people to the island.
Well, that's what they're trying to do. I mean, the stream thing. I mean, what is it? 15 quid, I think it was but that's 15 quid not just for 2 weeks. That's for the whole year. People will pay 20 odd quid to watch a boxing match. It'll be over in 10 seconds.
And also, people might not realise this, but if you have signed up for that for the TT Plus, there's also loads of really good documentaries. So if anyone that's got a smart TV, you can get it on your TV through the TT app. If not, you can get it online. But if you go and have a look, you can watch every TT race for the last 15, 20 years.
Long way back, yeah.
Every single race, you can go, like I said, all the documentaries, all the podcasts, there's so much
for 15
content.
quid?
For 15 quid, unreal.
How much are you paying for your Sky subscription every month?
I've never had Sky, but...
I got rid of mine.
just a quick one, like a general one for the island. What's the best things about living on the island, and what's the worst things?
When you arrived here and I spotted you downstairs, I said, Dom, you don't need to lock your van. It's all right. Say, Alaman, where are you going to go? That's the best thing about the island. It's quiet. You know, relatively low crime rate. It's a safe place to bring up kids. People have come here for years and years and years and brought their kids here and brought their kids up because they know in their estate they can let the kids have a run around the garden. And there was a friend of mine who had a family over, and they had young kids, 6, 7, 8 year olds, something like that, and they said, well, where you going? We're just going to play in the garden. No, you can't do that. This is only in Douglas down the road here. Yeah, but you're on the Isle of Man, you're all right, stay in the garden. No. The parents couldn't grasp the fact that this child could not go in the garden and play. This child was not allowed to do it, even though the people who own the house said, yeah, it should be fine, it's no problem, not going to go anywhere, gate's locked. But it could get pinched. It's like, this is the thing about the Isle of Man. It's quiet and it's safe. It's expensive to live here, but that's the price you pay, I'm afraid.
When you say expensive, do you mean just general living costs?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, is it? How much for a loaf of bread back in your Waitrose, Sainsbury's or whatever? 50p? Quid?
Oh, we both eat from the food bank. We put all the money into the show, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, because we've lost our local bakery here, Ramsey Bakery, a long time. And it was £1.80 a loaf, and it was only made 10 miles up the road. You know, I'm not decrying the fact that they have to make some money, but that is the thing. The cost of things can be quite expensive here.
Could you ever see yourself moving out here?
Not a chance.
We wouldn't let him in.
No, honestly, I tell you what, I would not want to live here.
Is there
not a bleeding hope.
Is there a visa thing? Like, do you know, can anyone move here?
Yeah, of course you can.
There's a bit of a waiting list though, isn't there?
No. If you want to move here, you have to, what's the word I'm looking for? You can move here, but you can't just move here willy-nilly. You have to you can't just come here and not have a job, basically. You can come here and you've got to prove that you can basically live here.
Right.
So, so if you there's a thing in the 70s and the 80s, and you were what was called a key worker. So say, for example, they were building a new power station and they needed guys to run the generators that run the electricity. So nobody in Ireland's qualified for that. So they brought guys over. They were classed as key workers. They got houses, blah, 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 and they stayed here. They stayed here because they realised how nice it was here.
Yeah.
Would you live over here?
Could I?
I've got a different reason, price to most, but
Yeah.
We wouldn't let you, I told you.
I don't know.
it's only because of you. I definitely wouldn't want to live here, 100%.
It's beautiful. It's lovely and peaceful, and I can imagine it would be. I think it would be quite a nice place to retire to. But as a young person, I think there's all, especially like obviously racing and stuff like that.
But the thing is, a lot of people say that. We just had a story on the radio this week about young ones who go away to university, and a lot of them want to come back, but they don't want to come back because they come back here and it's just
not much happening.
It's village mentality is what it is. You haven't got your place. You can't 2 or 3 hours down the road. You're in Blackpool, an hour and a half, 2 hours from where you live. You're in Scarborough. You got Whitby or whatever. Yeah.
Do you know, in terms of like the dating market, it must be quite difficult because there's not a great difference.
Yeah.
You know, it's like so and so.
Your brother's your sister and all this shit. Yeah. High 7.
That's the one. But, in terms of obviously, it's well known that it's got its tax benefits living here. What's the tax rules over here?
It's better than what it is in the UK. I don't honestly know, to be fair. It's something I don't pay it every year. No, God do not. Bloody hell.
It's all cash, this, Chris. It's 100% all cash. Yeah. They'll never get rid of cash. They've even got their own funny money over here. You know,
he's got proper money.
His mattress in his motorhome is just getting thicker and thicker. He literally ran out of room in the house, right? They call his house the safe. He lives in the posh end on the far side.
What, Port Mary?
Damn right. The brass is real.
The tax benefits are better. That's why there's a lot of companies here and a lot of people do come here.
It's corporation tax, really.
Corporation tax and stuff here is a lot better here than what it is in the UK. And also individual tax. I think you don't get taxed till it's about 16.5 grand or something like that. I can't remember what it is. But then you then get stung when you're self-employed 20% straight away. So that's the way it is. But the tax rates are better for us. But again, that negates itself with the cost of living because things are a lot more expensive here.
And there's a maximum tax as well, isn't there? So if you like, is it, what is that?
Oh, I have no idea. That's way too technical for me. I have no idea.
I'll tell you what, talking about where the living situation is, if you weren't going to live here, where would you want to live?
Cornwall.
Cornwall?
Yeah,
I've just been down that area.
Yeah, I'd quite like it, because we've got family down there too. So, yeah, I'd quite like it down there. That's the long-term plan, I think.
Right, to actually move off the island?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's nice all the way along the south coast. Really.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's lovely. I mean, 52 years old, this can't go on forever, can it? So
why not?
Can't go on forever, can it? So, 52 years old. See what next year brings.
There's loads of years of irritating riders left in you.
Maybe.
Loads of it.
Do you spend much time over in the UK?
Obviously, last couple of years, no. When the Manx is finished, we are heading over for 3 weeks. Because last year, what we did was we had 5 weeks over in the UK. We came up to that North Alton chat show, didn't they?
Yes,
We drove up to that, and that was good crack. That was brilliant fun. That was, and we had 5 weeks UK. Went to MotoGP, and we were going to do that this year, but we decided to go. Katie's dad, the wife's dad, he lives in Mallorca, so we decided to go to Mallorca for a week instead. But then when Manx is finished, we got a week back at work, and then we're off for 3 weeks. So we're going to go down to Plymouth. We're going to go see the Grandstand down there, as they say. We're going to see that little one. We're going to go see the other one who's in Cheshire, in Macclesfield. And then we're going to come up to Barbados for the RST Gold Cup, which is hopefully up and running from what Andy's telling us. So let's wait and see. I'm looking forward to getting back up there anyway. So that's the plan. And possibly going up the northeast because we like Bamborough. Very nice. And what's that thing where you drive across to get to that island?
Holy Island.
Yeah, we're going to go and do that again. It's lovely.
You've got to wait till the tide goes.
Wait till the tide goes. Damn, I was going to go straight to in the motorhome. No. That's the plan. 3 weeks in England.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That's interesting how you're going to retire over there, though.
Why not?
No, which is fair enough, isn't it? You know what I mean? But like, I tell you what, like even going back to the reason I wouldn't want to live here is because it would ruin the Isle of Man for me. If I moved here, it would ruin it for me. Like every time I get on the boat twice a year to come race over here, well, 3 times if I'm lucky, it would ruin it for me. You know what I mean? It's almost too much of a good thing, if that makes sense.
Do you love it when the racing's on and like this, especially the TT when the island's really busy, or do you prefer it when it's nice and chilled?
Both, really. I mean, I'm quite a chill guy anyway, but when the TT's on, it's complete it's complete and utter carnage for 2 weeks. You get asked to do so much stuff and to go to this. I mean, like this week I've got 2 or 3 things I've had to say no to. Just haven't got time, and I just don't want to burn the candle at both ends.
Could you enjoy racing without being a part of it?
No.
I completely agree with that.
I bored out of my tree.
I could not imagine anything worse than going watching race. It's like when I come, like if I'm coming down, we're going doing podcasts at BSB. Nothing annoys me more than not having a job.
Yeah. I went to Armoy the year it was rained off because the Friday night race run.
Never rains in Armoy, stop swearing.
And the Saturday at last, because Scarborough was supposed to be on, but Scarborough got cancelled obviously that year. That was 19, 18, whenever it was anyway. Yeah. And I was supposed to be in the commentary at Armoy, but I'd already done a deal with late Peter Hillaby to do Scarborough, but then that obviously all went belly up. And then, so I said, you know what, let's just go to Ireland. So we had 2 weeks in Ireland, so we went, well, let's go to Armoy. So they put us in the back of the field, and Friday was great, went over to the jumps and watched. She said, what's the matter? I said, what am I doing here? I shouldn't be here. I should be there with them too. But I thought, no, I'll sit it out. And it was great fun. Don't get me wrong. The back of those jumps is absolutely incredible. And we went up to the north of Ireland. We went up to a campsite. We went down for the launch of the Mrs. Brown's Boys Killer Lane races, the yes, East Coast Racing, whatever it's called. That was funny as hell. That was a really good fun. That was a bad night in a pub drinking Guinness with Irishmen in a rugby club. That was a really good crack. That was. And yeah, I can't just sit at a race. No, it's not me.
Do you know over the, like, did you say 20 years you've been doing this job at the TT? Over those 20 years, you've mentioned the fact that the riders used to stop in the box and wait for the klaxon to come in the pit lane. What other big changes have you noticed over those 20 years?
Well, lots.
Scoreboard.
The scoreboard. Scoreboard. Well, scoreboard's another thing, but that thing, I mean, I'm a great traditionalist, the TT. I mean, TT's in my blood. It's what it is. But the scoreboard, it was not the best. It had cost an absolute fortune to replace. And did you ever go over there and have a look at it, Dom?
I went over all the time. Used to sleep under it when I couldn't get back in the van. You know what I mean?
But your mum and dad wouldn't let you in.
But honestly, like I'm a traditionalist, and like you say, you've got to move with the times. But that was such a iconic piece, and it's shame.
It is. But I thought the new system had this year worked quite well. To be fair, with the big screen you had with the stream and telly around, like when you go to your BSB, you have it every other corner. And the good thing is you wouldn't have seen it in the race. Around the screen, they had like the numbers, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. And you know when the old light used to come on at Signpost Corner? That used to ping. So when number 1 came through, the light would come on. Number 2, light would come on. Number 3, number 4, number 5. And then that Wally chucked himself up the road at the senior TT, you Wally.
It's a good thing we're in charge of editing, because I can edit all this. You can slag every single bit of it. You know what I mean? That's it.
What a Wally.
Speaking of that, Dom did have a fantastic TT.
He did, yeah. You know,
that's a friend. I thought we were friends, but no, you chucked me under the bus. Chrissy's helped me there.
Do you know the thing is about being in the position that I'm in, that when I'm down there and I've got me in-ear headphones on, and you know, and it kicks you in the knackers sometimes, because it'll say, right, okay, don't mention Dominic Herbertson. It's like, oh, flip, you know, and I'm like, right. So and the bad thing is, his pit crew will be opposite me, and what's happened to him? I'll go, no idea, don't know, don't tell us anything. So you know that's the only downside to the job. So I just drop it on there a bit. But like they said about with your crash, so just let's just keep them out of the conversation for a minute or two. So, I mean, that's basically radio procedure.
Well, obviously, because you don't really want to be speculating if you don't know things.
Not at all. Especially nowadays.
It put you in a very
awkward position. Absolutely, yeah.
When you signed to this job on pit lane, the thing is, you're very, very close to the riders, and more importantly, the families. The first time an incident happened, was there any? That must have been
Trevor Ferguson, Manx Grand Prix, and I'll tell you why. Because Trevor, Ryan Farquhar's relative, Trevor Ferguson was, and I was over in Ireland for the whatever it was, one of the races, and one of them said, "Oh, would you bring Trevor's leathers over for him and keep them there at the house?" So I lived in Douglas at the time, down the road, just off Bray Hill. So they sat actually hanging from my staircase, just with some paper and stretch them out a bit. They were new leathers, whatever they were, and they say, exactly right there, right in front of us now where the TT podium is. The pit was there on the right hand side, and his pit crew was Ryan Farquhar, and blah blah. And he was first or second in the race, and actually crashed coming into the nook, and unfortunately died. And that was one of those things. And Ryan's going, "What's happened?" I'm like, "Don't know." That is the kick.
What?
That is the kick.
Of all of the years of doing this job, what's the hardest day you've had where you've went back home and you've just I didn't want to come to work the next day, sort of thing?
Jesus.
Quite a few of them, to be fair. Mark Ramsbottom, when he had the big crash at what's called the 26th now, Joey's, when the Spectator got the thing as well. It was horrible because his family were actually with the girl I was with at the time, not my wife now, the ex-girlfriend, their family were using their house for having baths and stuff, and that was horrible. That was not nice at all, and that was one of the things, you know what, why am I doing this? But I'm quite hard-faced, to be fair. I have to be, you know, and I know stuff has gone on, stuff's been told to me in my headphones that I wouldn't repeat on air. You know, and it's like, you know, take for example, the poor lads of sidecar crews down there at TT, and you know, God love them, Davey Morgan and stuff, and knew Davey really well. And a funny story, actually, it was before TT, Davey was over early, and we went down to the 1886 to the bar down in town. Other bars are available, and we just sat. There was Champions League football. It was Liverpool Real Madrid Champions League, and we sat down. My brother, who came down with this young fella, and I spotted him from the bar, give him a quick wave, and he knows me and Katie really well. He came over and did his usual chat. Chris, how are you doing? And he always goes, Katie, hello, Katie, like that, just touches his leg like, you weirdo. And and it was good crack, and he came up with a good chat with him because he's a big Liverpool fan as well, and that hit me quite hard, to be fair, with Davey, because knew Davey pretty well and followed Davey since his Manx Grand Prix success. In fact, that was a year when he won the Manx Grand Prix. I commentated out at Glen Helen because the commentator, Maurice Maudsley, God love him, he's passed away a few years ago, an old chap, great voice, Maurice, really good voice. He something had, whether he booked a holiday and forgot it was Manx Grand Prix, it was something like that. So he said, look, it was 2004. And they said, oh, can you go out to Glen Helen and commentate? I'm like, what? What do you mean go out in pit lane? No, we need to go to Glen Helen. I'm like, never done anything like that in my life. So I went out there and did it. Yeah, that was the year that Davey won it. Yeah, that was interesting going out to Glen Helen, really was. Yeah, but Davey, God, Mr. Lad, yeah, really, really nice guy.
On the other side of that, what's been your biggest, proudest moment in the job? Like you thought, even like on a bias level, like you had to see this rider do well.
Yeah, when I think John McGuinness, something. There's quite a few, to be fair. I mean, when John McGuinness did that 130 mile an hour lap, and I was stood closer than what we are now, you know, and you could just see, I could see it in his eyes. I could see in his eyes that he was like, yes, I've done it. It was incredible. And Charlie Lambert, who was the commentator up here at that time, he was shouting and screaming, 130 miles on, he's done it, blah, 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 blah. And John McGuinness in for the pit stop, blah, 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 blah. And he's done 130.354. It was 130.534. And John just looked at me and went, I could just see the smile in his eyes. That was great. And when Connor came in, you know, after he'd finished that lap, after Connor had the big crash up on the mountain, and he came back in and he finished that lap and then said, you all right? He said, yeah, done it now. You know, that to me is a big smiley thing. And the Crow boys, the young Crow lads this year, when they came in on the sidecar podium, following their dad, Nicky, absolutely brilliant. I mean, there's so many. And when Bruce Anstey won the other year in the 250, there's that picture you've probably seen on social media of him nearly breaking me ribs. He broke me glasses, actually. He crushed me that hard. He broke me blinking glasses. Yes. And yeah, that was mega. And that's good. I like things like that. That's a really good plus.
Like, speaking of like highlights, and you mentioned Bruce Anstey there. Why hasn't he arrived at this? He's unfortunately withdrawn his entry. Withdrawn his
Scottish now. No, I spoke to him at Armoy, and he said, I said, you're going to do them? Yeah, you know, he's like, he's hopefully back next year.
Great.
He's just not done the races to get the mountain course license.
Right.
So that's the be all and end all. You know what he's like? He says, Bruce, what are you going to do? Yeah. No, yeah. So hopefully next year you'll see him back. Whatever Bruce wants to do, Clive will have a bite from Clive Paget.
Have you ever done any riding yourself? Are you racing?
No, I do ride on the road. That's enough for me.
What's your bike of choice?
My bike of choice at the moment is because I'm a short arse. I've got to be careful. It has to be quite a short seat. So I've got a Honda Hornet. Honda Gram, yeah. Can't touch floor. Yeah, it's a Honda Hornet. I've got them. A little 600 for that. So that's great. It's all I need. It's fast enough for me.
And have you ever done anything sort of competitive or track days, anything like that?
No, I was going to do a track day a few years ago, but obviously all this rubbish kicked in, so we didn't go and do it. But I don't know.
You don't want to... Come on.
A lot of lads who go to the pub, but they go to a place like Portimao, or they'll go to Italy and do track days and stuff. But again, I'm that busy all the way through the summer now. Everything's back to normal-ish. Every other weekend I'm doing something. So I just wouldn't have time. So occasionally, I mean, I'll tell you this much: how many times has my bike been out this year? 4.
Wow.
Just haven't got time.
And away from the pure road racing, do you follow like World Superbikes or MotoGP or BSB?
Not really. I went to MotoGP last year. It was all right.
I went. I thought it was really cool spectacle.
Well, I was quite lucky. I managed to get into the BRDC, so that was all right. It was very nice.
Very nice.
Tipping with gin and things. No, it was all right. It was great. The atmosphere was great. Obviously, Rossi and was brilliant. Not Rossi. Who's the English lad who did really well?
Last year or this year?
Last year, the English lad. He was the teammate on the Yamaha.
Oh, Jake Dixon.
Jake Dixon, yeah. He got
last though.
It doesn't matter. Every lap, you could just see he was getting quicker and quicker, and the response he got at the end was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah,
it was mega. And that was Rossi's last one, wasn't it? MotoGP last year, and the reception he got, because we were right on the BRDC, we were right at the front. It's quite funny because we stood there and we was like, we're going to get there early to get a seat. So we got a seat, and I looked down and there's John McGuinness, and I'm going, I was going to spit on his head. I thought I better not. And he goes up, and I just got one of those from John up there, and had a good chat with him, and yeah, I had a good night with John. Actually, it was a good crack.
Do you know when you've been in pit lane or asking, commentating and whatever, away from, so this person can't be involved, like directly involved with motorbike racing, but who's the most famous person that you've interviewed?
Oh, do you know what? I miss him because he was great fun. I mean, who'd have thought 25, 30 years ago, I'd be walking up the middle of the paddock here at the TT, and Keith Lynn goes, "All right, Kenners, how are you, geezer?" And it's like, what? It's like, what? My mate was in and went, "That's Keith Flint from The Prodigy." I'm like, yeah, he's all right. He's a nice guy. What was wrong with him? He was great to talk to. But music again, Carl Cox. What a nice chap to talk to. And I tell you who else. Do you ever remember that programme on Discovery or something? It was where they bid on the auctions and they bid on the garages. Storage Wars, and there was that guy with Barry with the grey hair and the glasses, Barry, whatever his name was. He was actually the founder of Geffen Records, who found Guns N' Roses. So he kind of knows about music, and he turned up. What a great chap to talk to. Said, "Hey dude, how's it all going, man?" Teeth were whiter than those lights. It's incredible. Like, oh, like, but no, those three were good crack. And James May was quite good fun too. He was a good interview to have as well. I mean, when we used to do the chat shows down, they used to get everybody in. Everybody was here for TT. Darren Goff, the cricketer, he was over 1 year for Bennett's, I think it was. There was other guys that have all come through, and we've all had good crack. I like to think that interviews should be easy. It shouldn't be stayed. It should be nice, not formulated like we're doing now. Just a good bit of banter around the table.
Who's the biggest wild child you know? When you're talking about the crack and the banter and everything like that, let's face it, there must be some right animals.
Well, all I'm going to say is the Duke of York at Pomeroy, chat show last year, Whiskey and Dominic Herbertson. Yeah, completely banjaxed. But good crack, wasn't it? Wasn't that a good night? Jamie Coward going to wee himself.
Absolutely. I've never seen Jamie Coward committed to pints like he did a lap time round here.
Oh, my God. Necking it, wasn't he?
Wasn't he? Bearing in mind, when I first met Jamie, he had a mullet and a white vest. He had a few pints down him when he was trained. This athletic version of Jamie was barely sipping pints. He was absolutely bent in half.
But a lot of the lads, I mean, I've been out to Macau with them as well, and you can't repeat what happens out there, but they all have good fun. You really all have good fun. All the lads are a good crack. They all are. They really are.
Do you know, over your whole career, if you had to pick sort of like your favourite 3 people to go up to on the line, ready to set off down Bray Hill, who's your favourite 3 people to go and have a bit crack with?
Gaz Johnson's good. Gaz Johnson's very good for a good chat. Hickey's all right. Hickey, but again, Hickey you can get lots out of, but it is very formulated. Yeah. It is very, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, whereas I can go to Gaz Johnson, he'll just fire off anything at me. John McGuinness is great to interview. No matter when you can interview John. I did a podcast thing with John for the radio station, and he could have talked for half an hour. I mean, I think we did about 26 minutes. He could have gone on and on. I was thinking, it's only supposed to be 13 minutes. He just went on and on and on with it. But no, a lot of the guys are good. Michael Rutter's good to talk to. Some of the sidecar boys are absolutely... But Johnny Holden will go on for Conrad, Dean's dad. And Dean as well. Lemon Eck. Haven't got enough time.
Has anyone ever caught you off guard or said something like really inappropriate and you've had to like...
Yeah, all the time.
Like...
All the time. The thing is about the radio, and it's the same with the radio when they do Northwest and stuff, there's no delay. There is no delay in it whatsoever. So, again, we do apologise for the abusive language said by Dominic Herbertson.
No,
on the start line. No, you haven't.
I have never sworn on that.
Your dad has.
Oh, has he?
No.
I was about to say, not my dad, but I tell you what, one of the best things I've ever, like, we had a group page, right? It was called the BOC, so it was the bunch of, there was that word on the end, right?
Just you and Charlton and all
my
them?
God, no, Barsby, Charlton.
Oh, God.
Pretty much every North East lad that was at the Southern that year, right? And honestly, with Charlton, he won the B race, right?
God, he
did. Came out with a line, right? Now, this lad's from Townlaw, County Durham, right? There is no filter with this bloke. No. And he just got on the microphone, and Chris is like, well done, Richard Charlton, you know, the first time you've got on the top step, you know, how do you feel? And he just stood up there and went, right, a big shout out to the bunch of...
Yeah, I know.
He's you know, Chris Kinley you could just see that. You could just see the world just disappear under his feet, and he was like, oh, God. I would like to apologise. And you could hear Charlton in the background going, what did I say? What did I say? Like, I'm just, you know, I'm shouting out to the lads, and you know, I've done that wrong. And
did I tell you what I did? Did I tell you what I did to Charlton? I did. We were at Armoy a few years ago. Armoy again. It was afterwards, and me, Kate, Charlton, Barsby, and all them. We went down to the Armoy pub. You know the one.
Oh, the Armada.
Went in there. The Armada. Yeah,
there are other pubs.
Yeah, there is two more. And we stood there, and Charlton left his phone on the table. Big mistake. It was me. Turned his phone into Uzbekistani or something like that. Nobody could figure out how to change it back. You had to take it to the shop to get it full factory reset. So that's my claim to fame with the BOC King.
He's not here. He's not here at this event.
No, he's not.
Blue Steel, Barsby. He's racing. He's giving it the nines. And...
I like his helmet design. Very nice.
Well, you do like. You're a fan of the helmet, aren't you?
I do like a fan of the helmet.
Big fan of the helmet.
Shiny one.
Speaking of, I know you just mentioned about when John broke the 130.
Yeah.
Is that been the best moment you've ever had in the booth?
Oh, blimey.
Keep it clean, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think...
It was obviously a massive breakthrough.
It was huge. I mean, people were speculating on it for years and years and years. I mean, now we're at 136. And it's ridiculous. Michael Dunn nearly 130 on a bloody 600, 120 on a sidecar. What's going on?
Is 140 ever going to be possible?
No, I wouldn't have thought so, unless they resurface quite a bit. But they can't resurface quite a bit in the place, especially from Glen Trammond down there. I mean, that's blooming bouncy as hell, but they keep it like that for a reason. I don't think we'll see 140. We might see 138, I would say. Yeah. And I think if we had the Ulster Grand Prix, I think that'd probably be getting close to that. Hopefully the Ulster Grand Prix will be back next year as well.
I was about to say, do you know where we are with all that?
Philip McCallan has they've actually put an application into the MCUI to have a road closing order for next year. Right. Philip McCallan and a group of guys are behind that. And also the Northwest 200, they have come out with this week, haven't they, saying that they need help for the event next year. And how, like Mervyn White, he came in the BBC studio with us, with all the boys, we sat round, and he says, we got this, say for example, I don't know the exact figure, say we got £80,000 from the Department of Tourism in Ireland, whatever they call it over there, and the golf got millions and millions and millions. But the people who come for the golf, they didn't go to Portrush, Portstewart, Coleraine. None of them stayed there. They all got bussed in and bussed out. They didn't go around the shops and spend money, but the golf got millions and millions and millions. So how many people at the Northwest? Tens and tens and tens of thousands of people there. And it was great. The racing was great. It needs to have the money. All those events need to be supported by the tourist board. I mean, the Alabama government underwrites the TT and the Grand Prix. They underwrite it so the TT, touch wood, is safe. So, but those events need support from the tourism, and I really hope they get it.
What is the biggest threat to the TT then?
Biggest threat to the TT? Ooh, blimey.
Because it's gone through foot and mouth.
Yeah,
it's gone through
everything.
The big two. There's two things. I think
war.
There's war.
The little thing called
COVID too. And no, I think a big thing is the modern world that we live in, with health and safety and risk and all this malarkey. I mean, I've just been to watch, like I said, the Purple Helmets down there in Laxey. Can you imagine them doing that on the seafront in Scarborough with crowd as close as that wall is there and stuff, and they're doing wheelies and skids, and it's mucky as anything, and they're falling off, and they've got the bare arse out when they're riding around. Can you imagine that in the UK? Could you imagine that?
It's called Stanley.
Here. It's called, yeah, it's called. Yeah.
There's only 3 people that laugh at that joke, and he's doing it on the inside.
Oh God! But again, yeah, risk is a big thing. The modern world that we live in, with the risk factor, with health and safety and stuff, that is the be all and end all. Because if the TT was invented now, wouldn't happen.
No way.
Not a chance.
Do you know, if 100 was on a scale of like 0 or 100 being absolute certain, 0 being absolutely definitely not, what's the chances that the TT's still running in like 2035?
Absolutely.
Or you think it'll be 100?
Absolutely. Yeah. It keeps the Isle of Man going for the year. It really does. The amount of money it brings in. And this event as well, you know, the Manx Grand Prix and the Southern 100, they all bring money into the coffers. And when we didn't have it for 2 years or however long it was, you know, hurt the Isle of Man.
If you could create a new class at the TT of new bike, either like Zeros or CB500s or 250 GPs,
I'd love it.
Which class would you
250 GP straight away.
Do you know this man's gone away number 1?
I know he is, I know. What happened there?
I don't. Now, do you know how that system works? I have no idea how that system works.
Let's let Dom go first. Let you be the bird scarer. Off you go.
Hey, I'm loud enough.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
But that is an honour to start a TT race at number 1 or a Manx Grand Prix race.
Not many
people
massive
to do that.
They don't. You're the first man down the road.
It's hellish, isn't it?
It is.
And arguably probably my worst bike.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Experience-wise.
Who was the last Geordie to go down at number 1?
Maybe Mike Mins.
It would have
Possibly
been I.
Minzy in the Manx Grand Prix.
It would have been I.
What about
I tell you, that's a good question for the TT, mind. It'd probably be Ian Bell. Is Ian Bell? Did Ian Bell ever go down as number 1?
Or Jeff. Could have been Ian or Jeff. But in sidecars, maybe they might have done, yeah. But no, they normally went to 3 or 4.
Here's a question. Do you know, because you know so much, because you've done the job for so long and you're so passionate and into the sport, so like facts like just roll off your tongue like that, do you still have to do like homework before the TT, or is it?
Yeah, I'm quite lucky though, because I can read something like that and I can take it in and not have to retain it, so it just goes in and stays in. So I'm quite lucky with that. So I don't know how I do it. I just do it, because otherwise you end up carrying books of stuff around you're not going to use. When in the middle of a race will you get a chance to go? You just don't get a chance.
Yeah.
So you've got to have it there instantly in your head. Larry's the same, and Larry does the BSB. Larry doesn't carry a book around.
What's the most obscure fact about a TT that comes to your mind now?
Ooh. Ooh, I like that.
What caused the Dave Molyneux? What was the thing that caused Dave Molyneux to be able to start a sidecar race in 2005? Second sidecar race, Dave went to the line, right, and his dashboard wasn't working. His Motec dashes, whatever it wasn't working. So Dave was not going to make the start. What would you think held the race up? It's the Isle of Man, don't forget, it's the Isle of Man. So what do you think would hold the race up? What do you think?
Gary Thompson need the title.
Nope. Barney the dog in Kurt Michael.
Shut up, man.
There was a dog on the track, and that let Dave Molyneux make the start.
I hope you give the owner a few.
Yeah. Couple of quid. There was a dog, went on the track.
Release the hounds.
Release the hounds. Who think you are, Mr. Burns from The Simpsons? And so that allowed Dave time to get the dash unplugged, put another one in, plug it in, set it up, and away he went.
Wow. That is an obscure. I think in terms of top trumps of obscure TT facts, I think that's definitely.
I mean, there's lots of others with especially animals on the track, and we've had all sorts over the years. I mean, it's things like spectators on the road at various points and stuff like that can delay the start of a race. But yeah, that was a pretty good one. And obviously, the year Paul Orrick crashed at the bottom of Bray Hill there with the big tank slapper, and when you remember that one when he fell off, he was the only guy to cause a senior race to be stopped, because he crashed at the bottom of Bray Hill, massive tank slapper. Yeah. Have you seen the video of that? Yeah. He fell off down, and Paul Orrick, as he was. That was 98, I think that was. Anyway, he did that and lost lots of fingers and things.
Do you know, I read this the other day, but do you know the most common owl on the Isle of Man? Do you know what it is?
There isn't any. No owls on the Isle of Man.
No, there is.
Moles.
No, there isn't.
No owls, no squirrels, no moles, no foxes.
The most common owl.
There isn't any.
I hope someone listening to this has got a really dark teat.
The what?
The teat.
The teat.
Teat owl. There's loads.
Oh my God! He's not getting any better, is he?
Oh my God,
That's
Chrissy.
what a piggy's.
I tell you what, Bellend. No, but like one of my most one of the best years I've ever been here, and probably one of the most difficult years here was 2019 TT. There was a motorhome parked in the graveyard site, and literally every rider and every team owner and every marshal wanted to set fire to that.
That one that was parked in a little entrance there, wasn't
literally off the starlight, and it was just like, why don't we just go it off? And it delayed and delayed, and bearing in mind we had no sunshine that year. It was just delayed, and it was the only dry night that we had in this motorhome as part. Anyway,
what a few serious issues this year with the football on Bray Hill. And the helmet. Come out the crowd.
I've seen it. I mean, I've heard of stories of spectators falling off the bank before Bredon Bridge and stuff. You know, people just have to be careful. You know, it's a road circuit. I mean, think about if John McGuinness would have hit that football down there at 160, 70 mile an hour, something like that, and the helmet falling down. Just got to be careful. The thing is, this is the thing about you saying about the TT widening itself to a bigger audience. The true road race fan would think themselves, sat in the hedge, my bike helmet goes behind me. You wouldn't put it next to you like that. You go, oh, mate. Oh, there it goes on the floor. You know, you've just got to have a bit of thought. And, you know, hopefully these people will get educated because, again, the sport does need new fans, whether it's BSB, MotoGP, World Superbikes here, Southern 100, whatever, has to have new fans to keep going and to be going in 2035, doesn't it? So has to have that new breed of fans.
Yeah. A lot of people argue in the fact that it's so accessible with the £15 and you can go around. And a lot of people argue in the toss and the fact of saying, okay, I've got that backwards. I don't know what's going on. At some point, there we go. You see, I'm learning as we go. But some of the biggest things and the biggest arguing point was because it's accessible online, there'll be less people coming to the Isle of Man. Do you agree with that?
No, you come here for the experience. Okay, you come here for the thrill of being able to sit as close to what we are now at the bottom of, say, Hilbury, at 140 mile an hour past you. You can't get that anywhere else in the world. Unless you go to the Ulster Grand Prix, which has to come back. I'll say that again. It has to come back. You know, the road racing is the thrill. You can go to BSB all day long, and I'm sorry, Chrissy. You can go to BSB all day long, but I mean, I watched a bit. Where were they last week? Thruxton last week. That was all right. It was okay. It was good. I like Thruxton. It's a great track. Really, that far side of the circuit, two-wheel drifts, absolutely brilliant. But it's not sat by the hedge here. It's not sat at the bottom of Bray Hill. It's not sat, like I say, at Hilbury. It's not sat at the 11th milestone. Brilliant. And they go past you there just so damn fast, incredible. Like Armoy, the jumps at the back, you know, the laggy jumps in the dams. Geez, more than Mary. If that doesn't wake you up, you're not living.
I totally agree, by the way. If you sort of take your professional head off, just as a sort of fan, who's your like three favourite riders of the current crop?
Three favourite riders: Mark Herbertson,
Richard Charlton.
Yeah, Richard Charlton. Kevin Barsby. Yeah. No. John, I like John. A lot of time for John. Always have done. You know, he's got a lot of time for me as well, which I quite like. I can just ring him up and do a podcast or whatever. He's absolutely fine with it. He's quite good. The Sidecar boys, I like Reevesy. You get a great interview out of Reevesy. He's a good lad. I mean, I could go on Dave Molyneux. I mean, Dave Molyneux on the Isle of Man, he's fantastic. I mean, how he thinks up these ideas. I know what, I'll put a KTM in the Sidecar and see how it goes. And do you know what? It's gone quite well, to be fair. He's got 114 mile an hour lap on it, something like that. That's incredible. It's something that he's built in his shed up at Reggaby, for goodness sake, you know. It's just incredible what he does. You know, the Birchall boys, they're good lads. I mean, I could go back to Joey Dunlop. Never got the chance to interview Joey, but I interviewed Robert a few times, and Robert's an absolute gentleman. And the year he came, when the boys were having their debut, that was brilliant. I did a little podcasty thing with him. That was years ago, by the way, years and years ago. And and I was quite happy because I was slightly taller than him. So Robert Dunlop was good as well. Darren Lindsay, another great rider to have a tour. Martin Finnegan also has some great crack with Martin Finnegan as well.
Do you know, we've got a Patreon. We do things on Patreon where they can actually Patreon.
Right.
They can actually send audio messages in.
Lovely.
So we've got a question here. I'll just.
Hi, Chrissy, Chris, and Dom.
You had to think about that, didn't you?
The question for Chris Kinley is: what's your favourite thing to say? Spits and spots of rain, or the chains jumped off the sprocket?
Do you know what? Somebody made that into a ringtone. The chains come off the sprocket. But again, I tell you exactly when that happened. It was Richard Britton on a start, and Richard was a great lad to talk to as well, on and off the track. God love him. 2005, Ballybunion, that was, poor lad. And he came in here for his pit stop. And his crew chief is a guy called Davy Lappin. A lovely guy, Davy. Met him at the Northwest this year. Not seen him for years because he walked away from after Richard, unfortunately, died. And you could tell that it wasn't on. And I'm just running, and you could do it, and you get close to the bikes. And I was that close to it. You know when you have a chain and it doesn't go on the sprocket correct, and when it goes on, it goes clunk like that. I was that close. You could hear the clunk of the chain jumping onto the sprocket. So I'm running behind going, Richard, the chain's off. Richard, you have to stop. The chain's off like that. So Richard looks down at me, clunk, and off he goes like that. But they used that audio for years. And then it happened the same with Guy Martin as well. They obviously did the wheel change and they didn't put the chain on properly. And there's I forgot what the exact audio was. And then a funny one, a couple of years ago when Chris Palmer started with us, we were down the bottom taking the sidecars off, and Pete Founds went off. Palmer did his chain off, so I've got my chain off and Palmer's chain off all in a mix down. But yeah, the chain off is quite a good one. Or spits and spots of rain. Spits and spots of rain and a scutch of people. There you go.
A scutch of
There you
people.
go. Back
I do
to the
like
scutch
that.
again.
I tell you what, you and Chris Palmer are like really good friends. And obviously his experience on the bike and yours, but the more important thing is that your mates that go drinking together.
Yeah.
Have you ever just looked at each other and gone, do not say that story and I won't say that story?
Yeah, lots of times. Absolutely. He calls me Ronnie Corbett and I call him Ronnie, who's the other one? Ronnie Barker. The two Ronnies they call us. Ronnie Barker and Ronnie Corbett, yeah. Chris is good, and Chris is back with us at the Manx Grand Prix.
Oh, brilliant. And speaking of the Manx Grand Prix, what are you most looking forward to this week?
Looking forward to the 250 GP race because I'm a 250 fan. Love me two strokes. Absolutely brilliant. I mean, when Locker rode that 500 suited of the year at the TT, it was just heaven. You know, and I was Palmer was doing the thing when I said, Chris, what do you think of that? He said, I want to have a go. So, yeah, no, that was good. Yeah, 250s. Looking forward to that race. Looking forward to seeing the Manx Grand Prix in the new format with the junior bikes now being twins, because obviously that's going to be a new lap record now, because the old 600 lap record is young James Hind, and he's some pilot, that boy is. And, you know, he'll go well, obviously, in the races he's in here, but they said there will be a new junior lap record because obviously it's been reclassified for not 600 four-strokes, it's twins now for the junior.
That's a good thing. I wonder if James is aware of that fact.
Well,
he'll be at the lap record.
600 lap record, yeah, that'll be his now until he change it back.
Fair play.
Yeah, and they're bringing all the old Manx Grand Prix trophies back as well.
I was about to ask that because obviously now it's like the classic TT elements change on that side of things. I was wondering what's going to be going home in the trophy cabinets.
Well, the trophies have to stay here because Lloyd will be chasing you if you try to take the trophies, Lloyd, and guide the guys from G4S. But yeah, the old Manx Grand Prix trophies will be back out for them classes, which I think is great.
Right, there we go then. Oh, that will be good. That will be good. So what other questions have we got here?
I've got quite a few Patreon questions.
Okay.
One of them, Paul the Pump, said, really enjoy your commentary at the Isle of Man road race. Chris, how you remember everyone's names is beyond me. Is there any race or sporting event anywhere in the world that you would like to commentate on that you haven't?
Oh, do you know what? I'd like to go to one of the IRRC races across in Europe. I've been asked actually by Big Frankie, the Big Frankie the German, would you like to come over? And again, it's fitted in. I would love to do that. Yeah, it would be good crack. Would be good fun, that would be.
100%. I'll go with you. You can jump in the van with me and then we'll just go over.
You're going to do one, are you?
I would love to do an IRC.
All right, we'll do it. Kate, you'll have to come.
100%.
Huh?
I'm only asking you to take Kate.
I'd love to do it. I'd love to do it. I'd love to do it, yeah.
If this isn't a patron question, it's just from me, but if you had to do a pillion lap at like a decent speed,
done it with Milky.
I was going to say, if you could choose
the fear in his eyes.
If you could choose one person, who would you most like to go with, and who would you least like to go on the back of?
Milky was a bit eye-opening because it's Milky, but then he knows the place like the back of his hand. That was good. And the best thing was, I very, very, very nearly managed to get a lap with Dave Molyneux on the sidecar. And what happened was, his passenger who was doing something with him, parade lap, was going to be late. And he was the same size as me. And he said, look, do you want to do it? I'm like, oh, okay, sign here. So I signed a bit of paper. Just as I'm putting the leathers on, oh, God. And it didn't happen. I'd have loved that. That would have been great fun.
My dreams come true on Chasin the Racin. Let's get this sorted here. Let's get this sorted. Lovely. That would be great crack, that might. 100% over.
Question from Lee Bartram. What does Chris think of the proposed changes to next year with the additional races and senior on Saturday? And also, what does Chris think of the new Manx GP 9-day, only 5 race format?
A lot of the teams who come here for TT, they're here for 3 weeks. A lot of the teams that come here for the Manx Grand Prix, they'll be here for 3 weeks as well. I was speaking to Paul Jordan yesterday, and he said he can't get back to Northern Ireland till the end, the Friday after the Manx Grand Prix is finished. So the Manx Grand Prix and the Superbike race finishes on the Monday. He can't get home till the Friday. can't get home physically. So that's the big thing. So making it a little bit shorter is letting people stay here a bit longer, have a bit of a holiday. But also, it's a long time, Dom, when you're here with your teams and stuff. It's a long time here. And I think it being a wee bit short, I think it's going to be better for the officials, for the marshals, especially, and don't forget just the marshal, the timekeepers and all the voluntary guys. I mean, it was one of the riders' briefings today, and all those people sat in there, I would say 90% of the people sat in that room signing you guys on today, are all volunteers. They're all giving up their time to come and do this because they enjoy the event, they're immersed in the event like they are. So, yeah, I think it is good. And for the changes for next year, we have a saying here in the Isle of Man, Manx people don't like change, and we don't, but sometimes things do have to change. The way that we did the commentary this year changed. Everybody liked it. Everybody, oh, it's not going to work, but it worked, because you had the commentary and you also had the live screen commentary. So I know people who had the screens going, but then they listened to the radio as well. So they had two forms of listening to it. And obviously we've got the commentary points back here for the Manx Grand Prix because there's no TV stream like they did with the TT. So we've got Glenn Helen and we've got Ramsey and we've got here, but we've got a team of pundits here as well with Carol Edsels, we've got Chris Palmer, we've got John Hogan helping us out too. We've got Lee Johnson and we've got Davo Johnson. And hopefully on the nearly said Friday then for the senior, on the Monday with the senior Manx Grand Prix and the classic, the Superbike Manx Grand Prix, whatever they call it, we could have a special commentator up in here as well, but I can't say anything about that yet. Just tease you on that one.
Now, to be fair, this comes out 2 weeks after this.
Oh, so does it?
Spill it.
Okay, John McGuinness.
Fantastic.
Yeah. That's the plan. So you're going to put it out tomorrow, aren't you?
This is live.
It's live. No, I asked him today and he said he'd be up for it if the money was
brilliant.
Right.
That's 100% correct.
That's him. Yeah.
So, like Lee's racing as well, because Davo's in the Superbike.
Yeah,
and then
Davo and Lee are both in the Superbike. So they're going to be here for the morning for the Senior Manx Grand Prix. But then they're obviously racing the Classic, so we need someone up here. So I've asked John. He said, think about it. Yeah, it'd be good if he does.
100%.
Not confirmed yet.
I presume for the Manx, there's less. The need for marshals is less than the TT.
No.
How many?
No, it has to be the same.
Does it? How many marshals are here for TT?
It is a good number. There were 20 short this morning, which Gary Thompson went on the radio giving a peel out. So they'll fill it by tomorrow. So we should be okay. I think it's something like 500 odd marshals.
Like 500,
and it's all changed, and it's all changed over the years as well. Whereas before, there was a lot of points on the course where marshal wouldn't be able to see the next marshal around the corner. That can't happen now. Each marshal has to have line of sight with the next marshal, and of course the red flag boards that they have now as well. That's in situation as well, so that's taken the need away for there to be less red flags around the circuit. So all the marshals, great job, been fantastic. I marshalled for years as well. When I grew up, when I was 16. First thing I did when I was 16, signed on to marshal and marshalled at Courtbridge and Braddon Bridge. For years, I did the flag at Stadium for the Southern 100 for 10 years, something like that. So again, you get immersed in it. It's Isle of Man.
Mm-hmm. Just a general thing for people coming to the island. They might be coming over for like a weekend or a week. What is if you had to recommend one place to go for a nice meal, where would you suggest?
Well, funnily enough, my brother owns a restaurant up in Elkin, so
don't stay away from there.
It's a big plug. No, there's loads of restaurants on the island. I mean, if you love your seafood, I mean, I don't know, if you're into seafood or whatever, or you're into just a good bit of steak with a bit of Manx beef or something like that, all the stuff here, all the local stuff's great. Some great independent local bakeries, good independent food makers, and again, it can be a bit more expensive, but you're paying for quality. Would you go and buy a steak from $2.75 from that shop with the blue sign down by the sea terminal, or would you pay £6 for a steak that's been fed and done 100 yards across the way? I'd rather do that.
What about a coffee stop on the TT course? What's the best coffee stop?
I'm not saying it. There's so many coffee shops around on the Isle of Man, especially those big brands, but I don't drink coffee, first of all. And the thing is, my missus at Kate, she runs a coffee shops, and we both don't drink coffee.
Where's
down in Port St Mary? Down in Port St Mary. Corner House Coffee, other coffee shops are available. But Conrad's is good. I mean, Conrad's is good, Connor. I mean, Connor's a good lad. I'm surprised he's not riding at the Classic, on the Classic bikes at all, but he's not. But again, his business is thriving, so he's obviously busy with that. So yeah, he's a family man too now, so maybe
I thought he was at Cadwell.
He might be.
He's going to Cadwell.
He's going to Cadwell, but he's not doing here. Yeah. So he's not doing the Classic. But then he was good, because obviously he had Bruce. I thought Davey Todd might have rocked up on Summit for Malenko team. But no, there's lots of places on the island. There's lots of places you have to find, and luckily enough, if you just ask a local, they'll point you in the right direction. And if I say too many places, I'll be getting, oh, you haven't mentioned me. So yeah, there's lots of nice places on the island for food. No matter what, whether you're vegetarian, gluten free, they all cater for all that stuff because some people are like that for some reason. Steak,
meat. I'm to be fair, I'm fresh out of questions here, Chrissy. To be fair, we've got any more.
I'll finish it on of the Manx Grand Prix. Who's the next rising star? Who are you watching out for this week that you think's got the potential to go on to do big things at the TT?
There's lots of good newcomers here, and again they've decided not to go straight to the TT. They decided to come here. Obviously, no newcomer races now. You got lads like Stephen Smith. He'll go quite well. I think he was second or third in the junior of the year. Steve will go quite well. That's Dominic's phone. That's Stephen Smith probably. It's the Manx Grand Prix. You know, you won't find out till the first night of practice. There's been so many riders who've come here over the years and they've gone, oh, I can do the TT, I can do the Manx Grand Prix. And then they go to the first night of practice and go, don't like this. But then there's other people come here, take like a duck to water. But then, like Dominic knows, you can get stuck in a rut here on lap times, can't you? You can get stuck at 116. And then you can't go any further. Some riders have been like that, but all of a sudden they'll find this magical thing that, oh, we're doing 120 all of a sudden. You know, so I mean, there is some good riders, but again, I don't like to call any of the Manx Grand Prix things because I mentioned Stevie Smith there because he's got the honour, I think, of starting the senior. I think he's off at number 1. I think he's in number 2. No, I've got it here somewhere. If I can't read it, I haven't got it. Hang on, here we go. I have got it here. See this? This is preparation. Excuse me a moment, just while we do this. Does that say Stephen Smith starting number 1? Because I got my wrong glasses on. It is starting number 1 in the Senior Manx Grand Prix. So yeah, there are some good guys. I mean, a chap you need to look out for is the Italian rider Francesco Coringa. There's a character and a half. If you think Stefano Bonetti is a bit of a wild old chap for a bit of a conversation, Francesco's great. And I say that because he's a good friend of ours because he used to rent our house out when he first started coming to the Manx Grand Prix. Him and his family would stay in our house. Uh-huh. But yeah, no, he's a good rider. There's some really good lads. Dean Osborne, local lad. Look out for him. Jamie Williams, he went very well at Armoy on that little 600 in the Armoy. There's so many riders out there that could be in the mix, I think.
Fantastic.
Exciting times ahead. Exciting times ahead. But now that I think the sun's coming up after this interview. We went from sunset to sunrise here. But honestly, what, you got any more?
I was just going to say, out of all of the locations that we've done the podcast, I think this is probably the coolest, isn't it?
Without a doubt. It's just we're not allowed to touch anything. That's the main thing, isn't it?
Especially with a big bottle of water over the mixing desk. Don't be doing that. You'll get us involved. We'll get letters.
Touching nothing.
Done. Yeah. No, thanks, guys. It's been great fun. Watched quite a few of them. So, yeah, it's good crack and keep up the good work.
Who's been your favourite guest we've had on the podcast?
So it is. John Burrows. Yeah, very, very good. Yeah, I like John. I've got a lot of time for John and, you know, I know his family quite well and stuff. And, yeah, he's good. He's quite funny. Thing is, I don't get time during the day because I do other things, and I go to work at night to read. So I occasionally just flick through them. So apologies for that. But I do watch quite a few of them. But again, I haven't got time to sit through them all. So if you just skip through the end of this, thanks for listening.
It's funny not doing a podcast drinking rich energy as well. We usually have our thing, and we don't. Yeah. But massive thank you to our sponsors, Colchester Kawasaki, and to our patrons. And this will be coming out this Sunday night. So I'll be racing at Cadwell tomorrow. So
good luck for tomorrow.
So yeah, I'll be busy at Cadwell this weekend, but then we'll be back. And when you get back from the Isle of Man, we'll get another podcast sorted. So best of luck this week, Dom, and I will be rooting for you. I hope everyone has a good, safe, and successful weekend. And
well said, mate. Well said.
Thanks very much for your time, Chris.
You're welcome, guys. Thank you.
Look forward to catching up soon. Take care. Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you.
Chasin the Racin. Powered by Colchester Kawasaki, part of the Global Moto Group. We supply new Aprilia, Moto Guzzi, Vespa, Royal Enfield, Kawasaki, Sim, Mutt and Benelli motorcycles.